So Donald Trump just continues to rant and to rave and to spread conspiracy theories and get into arguments with celebrities and singers online and go after universities and just continue to walk all over the Constitution and shred it and ignore every court in the land, including the Supreme Court. He is just like a bull in a china shop at this point. And he's back to playing one of his favorite hits, which is withhold federal aid from a state that you disagree with over a cultural issue. To me, this is one of the most ridiculous things Donald Trump does, and I don't see how anyone, regardless of where you fall on the political spectrum, I don't understand how anyone can look at this and see a state that is in need and then see their aid being held over their head for a reason like this. But can you guess what it is? Can you guess why Donald Trump would withhold aid from California? Well, he's playing one of MAGA's favorite hits, and that is trans in sports. Yeah, they better go along with his executive order banning transgender people from playing sports, because if they don't, he's going to withhold the aid that they need. And this has never made sense to me, because there are people in California who voted for Trump too. How do they feel knowing, hey, we're in need, we need help, and you are politicizing our aid for a cultural issue that really has nothing to do with how we pay our bills or live our lives? I will never understand MAGA's obsession with this, but I'm going to read you this article here from CNBC. We're just going to kind of react to this in real time as I read it. And I really do appreciate everyone for your support here on the channel. We've crossed over 700,000 subscribers, and we're headed toward 8. That's really hard for me to believe, folks, but I know we'll get there. So if you like this kind of content, be sure and hit that subscribe button. But yeah, this is one of the most ridiculous headlines you'll ever read, but it's true. Trump threatens to withhold California's federal funding over transgender athlete. And here we go. Donald Trump on Tuesday threatened to strip large-scale funding from California if the state goes against his executive order banning transgender athletes from participating in women's sports. Because we all know Donald Trump is all about protecting women. It absolutely drives me nuts when they try to make that point that they're the party that is about protecting women, when we have covered stories here on the channel about the girls who have bled out because they couldn't get the health they needed, the health care that they needed, and they were forced to die because someone else thought they should be able to make the decision for them. It's absolute bullshit the way they spin this, but let's keep reading. That funding can be withheld permanently if California continues to flout the February 5th order, Trump warned on Truth Social. Trump's post complained that a trans athlete who qualified to compete against women in an upcoming competition is practically unbeatable. That's... I can't believe that he actually said that out loud. But let's keep going. He wrote that he will order local authorities, if necessary, to not allow the transition person to compete in the state finals. And Trump added that he will speak with California Governor Gavin Newsom, a Democrat, later Tuesday to find out which way he wants to go on the issue. Now, Trump did not name the athlete whose participation in women's sports drew his attention. A.B. Hernandez, California high school student and transgender athlete competing in girls track and field, has recently received media attention. And California's Interscholastic Federation, which governs school sports in the state, said later Tuesday that it had created a new pilot entry process to ensure biological female student athletes won't be displaced at the state's upcoming track and field championships. So here was their post. At the conclusion of the CIF section track and field qualifying meets this past weekend, the CIF made the decision to pilot an entry process for the upcoming 2025 CIF State Track and Field Championships. Please see the following statement below. The CIF values all of our student athletes, and we will continue to uphold our mission of providing students with the opportunity to belong, connect, and compete while complying with California law and education code. With this in mind, the CIF will be implementing a pilot entry process for the 2025 CIF Track and Field Championships. Under the pilot entry process, any biological female student who would have earned the next qualifying mark for one of their section's automatic qualifying entries in the CIF state meet and did not achieve the CIF state meet at large mark in the finals at their section meet was extended to an opportunity to participate in the 2025 CIF Track and Field Championships. So then the CIF said the new policy was hashed out over the weekend prior to Trump's post. Now, the pilot process is a reasonable, respectful way to navigate a complex issue without compromising competitive fairness, a model pursuing, said Izzy Gordon, who's Newsom's director of communications. The governor is encouraged by this thoughtful approach. Now, Trump's threat to shut off federal funding could be significant for California, the world's fourth largest economy. Over 1/3 of the state's budget comes from the federal government, according to the California Budget and Policy Center. The state's 2025 and 2026 budget includes more than $170 billion in federal funds. The threat also carries weight in the light of Trump's increasing willingness to cancel billions of dollars in federal funds to universities, cities, and other entities whose conduct he opposes. Earlier Tuesday, Trump moved to cancel all remaining federal government contracts with Harvard University, reportedly totaling roughly $100 million in the administration's latest salvo against the elite institution. So, folks, it's really clear to me and anyone out there that can see through this that Donald Trump is going to go after anything that he disagrees with, and he is going to withhold aid from a state in the United States. In a state where people did vote for him and do support him, he's going to withhold their aid over this issue, which I would argue all day long should be left up to the schools, and the federal government should have no hand in it. It shouldn't be the hot button, hot topic, divisive issue that it's become, because a transgender athlete competing in sports does not affect you and how you pay your bills. It doesn't affect your day-to-day life. It is an issue that should be taken care of within that school. I've made this point before. There's over 500,000 athletes in the NCAA. Less than 10 of those are trans. So the odds of this happening to you or your family is slim to none. But I have covered so many cases here on the channel. And since Roe versus Wade was overturned, there was a study that came out that there have been 64,000 cases of pregnancies that were caused by rape. And the majority of those happened in states where there's no exception for rape if a girl chose to have an abortion. So we're making these arguments of we're going to let people vote and make medical decisions for a woman, but then we're also going to withhold aid from a state if they don't go along with everything that we say. It's so ridiculous to me that they continue to pick and harp on this subject, and people are okay with that. And here's my thing. Regardless of how you feel or what your take is on transgender athletes, whatever your take is, to me, is totally irrelevant. What does that have to do with the aid that California needs, and why is now the time for him to hold that aid over their head over that one issue? And if you allow a president to do something like that, then couldn't the next president, say it's a Democrat, say it's Gavin Newsom? Let's just say that somehow it shifts, and there's Gavin Newsom's the president. And then let's say some tragedy was to hit Tennessee. And he says, well, I don't agree with Governor Bill Lee. I don't believe that people should go to church down there. So I tell you what, when they stop going to church and they quit that and shut them all down, and I'm going to tax the hell out of them if they don't, then I'll send aid. Can you imagine? Can you imagine? I mean, what if I was to become elected president? Because I really believe churches should be taxed. And what if I said, hey, I'm not going to send any aid until we tax your churches? How do you think they would feel about that? They would raise mortal hell. But they're okay with this because this is something that they hate. This is something that they've never took time to understand or to listen to or to ever sit down with a trans person and hear them out. Or to never just sit back and mind their own damn business and let the schools take care of it. If you're ever going to make the argument to me that they should kick it back to the states when it comes to abortion, but then you think the federal government should come in on top and make a decision for a school, I mean, I don't see how you can have it both ways. And the Republican Party was always the party of less government. They don't want the government interfering in your life. Don't tread on me, they say, but they're perfectly okay if they tread on trans people. And I have to always call bullshit on this one. Regardless of how you feel about trans athletes, that's irrelevant to me. California is in need. They need their aid. Don't hold it over their head over an issue like that. It's just that simple to me.